What is going on, guys? Gene here, and here for you today the uh the review for the new mini expansion for Steel Rebellion. So kicking things off, we have the Bloodcraft Legendary Slain Steel Rot Vampire, 6 mana 6/6 Fanfare. If you have at least 7 other cards in your hand, gain Drain. Fanfare. If you have 3 to 5 other Machina cards in your hand, gain Rush. And if you have at least 6 other Machina followers in your hand, gain Storm. And of course, he's a Machina himself. So he's mainly, obviously, he's going to be played in the mono blood decks. And because this is a nice way to deal a chunk of damage, helps you with board control because you usually do have like a lot of Machina followers in your hand, or just Machina cards in general. And helps you control the board. Has Drain if you have at least 7 other cards, which is highly likely if you're playing mono because you're always trying to set up your combo with mono. You usually have a ton of cards in your hand. So yeah, the card's pretty good. Most likely will be played, especially since it's played the turn before you could play mono into her alpha drive. Next we have Solomon, Lord of Magic, 2 mana 2/2 Rune Legendary. Fanfare, you put a Seal of Solomon into your hand and subtract X from his cost. X equals the number of times this card has been spell boosted. Seal of Solomon is a 7 mana spell. Randomly put one of the highest cost followers that cost X play points or less from your deck into your hand and change the cost to 0. X equals the number of times the card has been spell boosted. So a card this reminds me of is that you could just is like what was it? A dimension shift. Like I want to say dimension shift. And because if you could spell boost this Seal Solomon like 20 times like dimension shift is right now, you could get what was the card? Prophets of Creation. And with Prophets of Creation, just getting it off free from Spell Solomon is pretty insane. As well as the Seal Solomon fits the 7 cost for Prophets of Creation, so it helps a lot with that deck because 7 cost is usually one of the I believe it to be one of the harder ones to cast. So yeah, will fit perfectly in the Prophets of Creation deck, and it would be a very nice addition. Next we have the Havencraft Gold Follower, Sonia Protector of Hope, 4 mana 4/4, very great stats with Ward, pretty great stats. Fanfare in hand 7 gains +3/+3, and the following effect can't be destroyed by spells or effects, and can't be targeted by enemy spells and effects. So basically, on 4 mana 4/4 Ward is still pretty good. It has full evolved stats, and just on hand 7, it's just a 7/7/7 that can't be destroyed by spells or effects and can't be targeted. Sign me up. It's a very good card. Next we have the Dragoncraft Gold Follower, 5 mana 5/5 Ruinous Dragon. Fanfare, you put a Lightning Blast in your hand. If Overflow is active for you, subtract 1 from the cost of that card. It's alright. Lightning Blast has gotten much worse ever since they took off the enhance effect. A cool thing with this is that if you have 10 mana, you just play this. And since it costs 1 less, the Lightning Blast will cost 5 mana. So you play this and Lightning Blast the same turn. It's pretty cool. Next we have the Colossal Skull Lord, 7 mana 6/6 Shadowcraft Legendary. It is a Machina follower, so at the end of your turn, deal 3 damage to all non-Machina followers. This card is insane, especially for the obvious, the Machina Shadowcraft decks, because with the Fleeting Joy you get off Aenia, max you can usually do is most people go for is 4 cards. The 2/5 with Bane, the Techno Lord, the 8 mana 6/6 Ward, and Bone Drone. But with this, you get your 5th, and it also usually will always clear the board. So Aenia just got a lot more powerful with this, especially since this curves into after Aenia. It is just a great card. Now, next we have the Bloodcraft Gold Follower, 2 mana 2/2 to blame Duke and Dame. Fanfare, if Vengeance is active for you, put either a Peckish Owlcat or a Leoparian into your hand. And when you evolve it, you get to do the same thing. So what are these cards? Owlcat, he has returned, but as a Bloodcraft follower. 2 mana, 1/2, ward, and Fanfare, destroy an enemy follower with 1 attack or 1 defense. The card seems pretty good. And Leoparian is just a 2 mana, 2/1 storm, so it's basically the old wolf we had. So yeah, this seems much better in a in more aggro style deck. I don't think it's gonna be played mono. It might be played in we get a Vengeance style deck again with Laura and stuff like that. So yeah. Next we have the Havencraft Legendary 5 mana 3/3, the Untrue God. Fanfare, put a random Havencraft amulet that costs X play points from your deck into play. You activate Fanfare, and then put a random Havencraft amulet that costs Y play points from your deck into play and activates Fanfare. X or Y equal 4, split randomly. So basically, you just get your like a 1 cost amulet and a 3 cost amulet, and get their fanfares such as I can't think of any Havencraft amulet that has a fanfare off the top of my head. Let's say the old Red Hot Boots, where it deals 1 damage randomly, it deals 3 damage to a enemy follower on fanfare. It'll trigger that, and then it's basically a 5 mana 3/3 that gets 4 cost worth of amulets from your deck, which is pretty good, in my opinion. Here they have a fact: if they have enhanced effects, will it activate the enhance? And it says no, which is self-explanatory why. Next we have the Portalcraft Gold Follower, 3 mana 2/2 Puppet Troop Master. Fanfare, you put a puppet into your hand. And Evolve, you put 30 into your deck, and you give the leader following effect at the end of your turn, draw a card. Seems pretty alright. I want to see a deck actually play with this effect. It most likely will be whatever her name is, the 4 mana 1/4 girl, the Omen of Destruction. Maybe because it's puppet synergy, or it could just be an Orcus deck, since Orcus is still illegal. Next we have the Swordcraft Gold Follower, Azor, Duke of Mist, 7 mana 3/4, accelerate 2, randomly summon a Lilji, Butler of the Mist, or Sheena, Maid of the Mist. And its fanfares deal 2 damage to all enemy followers. He's a commander. The Butler is a 2 mana 2/1 with ward. Last words, you put Azor back into your hand without accelerate. And Sheena is a 2 mana 1/2 with Bane. And same effect as the last words and without the accelerate. Just a pretty good value card, especially with decks with the Lion Sergeant, Blazing Light Admiral, sorry. Just get free cards onto the board, dies, you get this back, and its fanfare is alright for his stat line. We'll see. I believe once Dawnbreak Night Edge rotates out, this card will see a lot more play. But as of right now, I don't see any spot for him in the current decks right now. Next we have Lord of the Vajano Marsh. Forestcraft Legendary, 8 mana 6/6. Has Ambush, which is pretty cool. Fanfare, give your leader the following effect during your turn. Whenever an effect that returns 1 or more cards to a player's hand, deal X damage to the enemy follower. X equals 2 times the amount of cards that are left play. So, and he has the evolve effect to return enemy follower back to your opponent's hand. So I forgot what it was called. I think it was called Homecoming, the gold Forestcraft spell that's in Unlimited. In there, you could easily find a way to get this card out and then have a full board, and then your opponent has a full board, and then you just Homecoming and then just deal 20 to your opponent's face. that sounds pretty insane. But if not, it's just a very good value card, because every time you just Nature's Guidance or stuff like that, you just deal 2 damage to your opponent's face. Seems pretty good. Next we have the Swordcraft Legendary Follower, Sword Flash Panther, 5 mana 4/5 commander. During your turn, when this card is added to your hand from your deck, reveal it, then give it +1/+0 to a random allied follower. Fanfare, evolve another allied follower whose attack and defense is increased by its polar effect. Evolve effects that will not active effect for that follower. So basically, we're thinking about cards like Aether. So you have, if you want, you can play turn 4 Aether, get this into your hand. He will automatically trigger, giving Aether a +1/+0. And then it'll become a 3/3. And then next turn, you can play Panther, Evo it, and then it just all fine and dandy. Your Aether. But this card will probably be better in like decks like in like a limited. There's also the Frog deck. It's pretty good in there since you could just free evolve your Frog. Decks that you pretty much use Ivory Swords Dance. You could just Evo the cards for free that you Ivory Swords Dance. Just a bunch of good effects since there's a lot of pump in sword right now. Next we have Clark Knowledge Seeker, the Runecraft Gold Follower, 10 mana 2/3. Accelerate 2, summon Earth Essence, and you put a Veridic Ritual into your hand. And Fanfare, recover 10 play points. Fanfare again, Earth Ray, banish all cards in your hand, then draw 9 cards. I feel like this card's a very good card, especially for Dirt Rune. They needed some top end curve card to really smooth out their plays. Once you get to 10 mana, this card basically becomes a 0 mana 2/3 that literally says get rid of your hand, draw a whole new hand. It's pretty insane. Plus, it also gives you 2 of the cards that you really want: Veridic Ritual and Earth Essence. So yeah, I will really want to play with Dirt Rune with that new card. Next, we have the Portalcraft Legendary Baphomet, Lord of Aeolon. This is the main villain in the story. 6 mana 6/6 Fanfare, banish all Machina cards in your hand. Put X Tisiphone the Malignance, Y Alecto the Dissonance, and Z Megaras the Indignance into your deck. X, Y, and Z equal the number of Machina cards banished from your deck split randomly. And evolve, you put a random Machina card from your deck into your hand. So, what are these cards? Tisiphone is an 8 mana 8/7. His rush can attack 2 times per turn. When this follower attacks an enemy follower, deal X damage to that follower before it can deal any damage in return. X equals his follower's attack. It's pretty good. So when you get it, you can just literally just kill 2 minions for free. Alecto Dissonant, 8 mana 7/7. End your turn, summon 2 assembly droids. Whenever another allied Machina follower comes to play, give it +8/+3. So when you play it, you get this 8 mana 7/7 body and 2 4/4s, which is also pretty insane. And lastly, we have Megaera the Indignant, 8 mana 5/11 Bane, and Fanfare, deal 5 damage to random enemy follower and 6 damage to the enemy leader. Card this reminds me of is Prince of Casidas. Mainly just replacing your deck with a bunch of powerful minions, but unlike Prince of Casidas, where you get a bunch of cheap cards that have very powerful effects, this guy, all the cards are 8 mana, and it only replaces all the Machina cards, so you have control of what cards are getting exiled or banished from your deck, which is pretty insane. But the one thing you don't have control of is how many of each of these cards you're getting. Like, you could just get like all Electos, and that means you have no way to answer the board with the other cards, or just need 6 damage to deal your opponent's face. Also, since there's not enough Machina cards to make your whole deck Machina, so this card just replaces your entire deck, so you don't always get the card as fast as possible. The only way you for sure get something is if you evolve him, which is still pretty good, but then you have to wait until turn 8. But yeah, this card is pretty exciting. Can't wait to play with them. And lastly, we have 4 more cards. Grimnir is back. 3 mana, 2/3. Grimnir, Warring Tempest. He is the neutral gold card. Has Ward like always. And Fanfare enhanced 7. Deal X damage to all enemy followers. X equals the number of times the ally followers have evolved this match. I feel like this will see play, especially in the... Actually, I think they'll see play in like any deck. Mainly because... Gofu. Grimnir was played before as enhanced 10 to steal 4 to everything. And this one is enhanced 7. Usually you could use all 3 or 2 evos by then. And 7, 2/3, deal 2 damage to everything, or 3 damage to everything is still pretty insane. Like you saw John, she's had the same effect, dealt 3 to everything, and was always played. This is a neutral, can play in anything, but very likely it'll be played in the decks that play Odin, or any type of effect that relies on the Evo effects, like Mono Blood, Izudia Forest, stuff like that. Next we have the new Dragoncraft Legendary Dagon, Lord of the Seas, 10 mana, 10/10. His effect is can't take more than 4 damage at a time, and can attack 3 times per turn. Welcome to the new Lindworm, everyone. Especially since Lindworm's still in rotation until I think it's in Dawnbreak Night Edge. It should be leaving like sometime this year. But yeah, if they ramp it to this, you can't answer it, you lose. I'm not looking forward to this, even though I'll probably be playing it too. Next we have the Shadowcraft Gold Follower, Hellfire Hound, 4 mana, 4/4, already good stats. Fanfare enhanced 7, gains the ability to evolve for the 0 evolution points. So if you think about it, it's a 7 mana 6/6 with Rush. Evolve Necromancy 6, gain the following effect at the end of your turn, deal 1 damage to enemy follower 4 times. This card's amazing in like the mirror match if you play him, and it's just a good value card. I think I will try and fit him into the Machina Shadowcraft decks, and I don't think it'll work well in Arcus, since Arcus you really want a lot of cheap cards. The only 7-drop you really want to play in Arcus is Arcus himself. Anything else is like pretty iffy. Unless you want to play him on 4, but on 4 you have, or if you want to play him and play 4 and evolve, I'd rather just play like Nebbit, Queen of the Flies card. Yep. And finally we have Milolo, Little Mountain Lass, 3 mana 2/2. When you play a spell, evolve this follower. Just the only home I find this in is the Izudia Forest deck, mainly because another easy way to evolve your followers, to raise up your count for Odin, raise up your count for Himkar. Just solid card. Play a spell is easy. You have like you can play cards like Nature's Guidance. You could play cards like Sylvan's Justice, all those type of stuff. And that's pretty much it for the mini expansion that's coming out, I believe, today. So I would like to know your thoughts on the cards revealed. Sorry I haven't uploaded in like I think a month. I started not uploading because of school. I was in the middle of exams, and ever since then it was basically like I didn't know what I wanted to upload yet. Man, because everyone's already done like videos of decks and stuff like that. There's nothing really original to make. If you really want updates to like any old decks, I can do those too. I might also do some videos on this new feature, the Open 6. This seems very interesting. And yeah, that's pretty much it. Don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, and Gene out.